There, perfect, just what we need. Hi, welcome to Girl in the Green Wellies. I'm just at the herb garden today. I'm going to harvest some rosemary because today's video is going to be slightly different. So here we are at my kitchen at home. It is actually my kitchen. It's not a very big kitchen, as you can see. I've only got the small workspace, but I want to show you that you don't need a great deal of space to be able to cook and bake delicious things at home. Today we're going to be baking focaccia. It's probably one of my most tip-top favourite breads of all. It's an Italian style bread which is really simple to make. We're going to be using fresh ingredients from the allotment, and we've got some rosemary and some garlic. But if you don't have those at home, focaccia is a type of bread you can pretty much put anything on the top. Bit of sea salt, some roasted peppers, courgette, some cheese, anything you like really. But the bread itself is going to be light and fluffy in the inside and just a little bit crispy on the outside. It's the olive oil that really makes it special. So you only need a few ingredients to make focaccia bread, and they're dead easy to find. So the first one that you're going to need is flour. 250 grams of plain, 250 grams of strong bread flour. Olive oil, we've infused ours with rosemary from the allotment. Salt, 10 grams. Fast-acting yeast, 1 sachet is fine, and 300 ml of warm water. For my toppings, I'm going to be using homegrown garlic from the allotment, and I'm also going to be using rosemary. Now I've infused the rosemary in some olive oil overnight. That's going to help bring out the flavour of the rosemary, and it's also going to stop the rosemary from burning when it goes on the top and in the oven. That's everything that we need. Let's get on and make it. So in our bowl we've got our flour. 250 grams of plain flour and 250 grams of white strong bread flour. To that we're going to add our yeast. Now I'm using the packet yeast. I find it's easy to use and really convenient, and you know it's always going to be fresh. Once we've added this to the flour, we're just going to use our hands and start mixing it through. Once you've mixed the yeast through with the flour, add 200 ml of warm water. Once the water's been added, all you do is get your hand in there and start squishing it together. Don't be afraid, you're going to get your hands a little bit messy and sticky, but that's all part of the fun of making your own bread. Once the flour's taken on as much water as it can, we're going to then add the salt to the remaining water in the jug. We're going to dissolve the salt just by swirling the jug, and then we're going to add the salt and the water to the dough. Continue using your hands and fingers to bring the dough together until there's no more flour remaining. Now the thing that makes focaccia really good is extra virgin olive oil. It really brings out the flavour of the bread. So we're going to put a good glug of olive oil straight into the bowl. It's going to be about 50 ml that we're going to use, but I just like to go by sight and just keep on drizzling and drizzling and drizzling. Once you think you've got enough, we're going to start mixing that all in with the dough. Now it will be really wet and really sticky, but it's important not to add any more flour. Just continue using your hand, squidging the dough and working the olive oil right in there. You will find it will come together, it'll be soft, it'll be sticky and squidgy, but you will end up with a fabulous ball of dough. Once all the olive oil has been incorporated into your dough, it's time to start the fun bit. It's kneading time. So using the heel of your hand, push the dough away from you and roll it back in. You don't have to have any fancy techniques or even a fancy stand mixer to make bread. All you have to do is just be patient and persevere with your kneading. Don't add any more flour to your bench. You've got all the flour that you need already in that dough, and by adding more, you're just going to mess up the balance and the flavour that you've worked so hard to achieve. So, to knead the dough, all we do is using the heel of our hand, stretch that dough away, push it away, and making your hand into a claw shape, pull the dough back in towards you. Now again, push and roll. Push and roll. Now by doing that, you're going to start developing the gluten in the bread and helping the bread maintain its structure when it's starting to cook in the oven. Now just showing you the stretch and roll technique again, using the heel of your hand, push the dough away, claw your fingers in and roll that dough back in on itself. Lift it and turn. Stretch, claw, lift and turn. So as you're kneading, you'll be able to see the strands of gluten start to develop. Now these lines are what's going to give your bread really good structure and an even rise in the oven. So let's keep on going until it's nice and smooth. There, so it's been about 10 minutes, and as you can see, the dough itself now is smooth and elastic. Using the outside of our hands, we're going to form the dough into a ball shape ready for proving. There, once you're happy, pop the dough to one side and we're just going to grab the bowl that we used to mix the dough in at the beginning of the video. Now, because it's focaccia bread, you can never have too much olive oil, so let's get another good glug of olive oil straight into the bowl. Once your olive oil is in the bowl, we're just going to grab the dough and again just form it into a ball shape and put the smooth side of your dough straight down into the bowl, into the olive oil. We're going to turn the dough and lift it and turn it until all the surface of the dough has got a good coating of olive oil. Now that's going to stop the dough from drying out. Once you're happy that all the surface is fully covered, we're going to cover the bowl and leave the dough to rise. Now you can use anything really to cover the bowl as long as it's airtight, so you can use a tea towel, you can use a plastic bag. I'm going to use cling film today so that you can see exactly how it's going to rise. So there we go, all sealed up, ready to rise. It's been about an hour now for the dough to rise. As you can see, it is huge. It's filled the bowl and it's very warm, so that will speed up the rising process. So what we're going to do now is tip the dough out into the pan. I've lined the baking tray with some greaseproof paper just because I don't want the bread to stick to the bottom, and then we're going to spread it out and we're going to let it rise for another 20 minutes. So I'm just going to put a little drizzle of olive oil just directly onto the baking paper. Again, we don't want it to stick at all. We're just going to take the cling film off the top of the bowl and very gently peel it back across the dough. There. Oh, that dough is perfect. It's nice and light. You can see just soft as you touch your fingers in there. So let's tip that dough out. Now, because we've used quite a bit of olive oil in the bowl, that will just fall straight out and into the pan without sticking. Perfect. So using our fingers, we're just going to gently stretch the dough out. Now we're not going to use a rolling pin because again that will knock out all the air that's in there, and we want it to be as nice and light and fluffy as we can. So just gently using our fingers to stretch the dough out to fill the pan. Now again, when it rises, it will get higher, it will start to fill a bit more of the pan out, so I'm not too bothered if it doesn't fill the whole way, but that looks pretty good to me. There we go, 20 minutes and counting. There, that's had 20 minutes to rise. As you can see, it's nice and big and light and fluffy. So all that's left to do now is the fun bit, the toppings. Now, as I said before, you can put anything you want on. We are going to put on our garlic and our rosemary. It's lovely to have something fresh from the allotment going straight in there. So let's get on it. So I'm going to use 3 cloves of garlic from the bulb that I brought back from the allotment. I'm just going to peel it and slice it finely, so when it goes on the top you don't get too much of a garlic hit. Now focaccia has dimples in the top, so just using my fingers I'm just going to push them in there, lay the garlic on the top, and taking the rosemary infused olive oil, just drizzle that all over. So while we've been getting the toppings on, the oven's been heating up, ready to go. We've got the garlic and the rosemary on. Now, you can leave this to rise again for another 20 minutes, but I can't wait. It smells too good to let it wait for another 20 minutes. So all I'm going to do is put a quick grind of black pepper on, just get that all over. Don't need too much. There we go. And I'm going to pop this in the oven now, 200 degrees centigrade for 20 minutes. Look at that. Perfect. It's been in the oven for just over 20 minutes, so it's a nice golden colour on the outside. It feels crisp to touch, and I'm sure it'll be soft and squidgy in the middle. It smells delicious. So let's go ahead and we'll cut in and we'll see how it's doing. Now I have let it stand for about 10 minutes, so it's good to eat. So let's have a look and see where we are. Oh, that looks amazing. Look at that. That is just so soft and fluffy. Let's get a section. Oh, this just smells amazing. But I bet you it tastes even better. Let's have a go. That is absolutely delicious. You can really taste the rosemary. The garlic is just soft and caramelized. Really, really tasty. It's a really easy, simple recipe to follow that's going to give you a fantastic tasting bread. You're sure to impress all your friends and family with that. If you make the bread, pop your pictures and comments in the section below. I'd love to see how yours turned out. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.